evening, my dear colleagues. Welcome to Inget Zoom Series 32. Today, our guest is Laura Woodward, a very dear friend and an outstanding colleague. I'm going to use her own words to introduce her. She has been a teacher and a teacher trainer for more years than she cares to remember. She has taught students and trained teachers in a number of different countries, huge list, believe me, including England, Turkey, Lebanon, Bahrain, and Iraq, and several others. Nowadays, she's working as a freelance teacher training consultant based in Cairo. Her main interests are teacher education and development education, lifelong learning, young and very young learners, my favorite, teenage learners, differentiated learning, the use of drama techniques in ELT, music and song in learning, and several acronyms, including CELTA, CELT-P, CELT-S, and others. This evening, the title of her talk is Writing with Children, the most fun you can have. Thank you very much, dear Laura, for accepting our invitation and being our guest speaker this evening. The screen is all yours.
Thank you very, very much. And thank you so much, Aydan, for inviting me. It was just an amazing opportunity to reconnect with Turkey again. So even if it's...
Can you please unmute yourself?
Sorry, it said the host muted you. I was thinking, are you trying to tell me something, Aydan? I know I'm konuşkan, but you know.
I was trying to mute myself. I'm sorry.
You see, this is all the stuff that goes with online teaching and training, isn't it? We all do mad stuff like, I thought I muted myself. No, I muted somebody else. Whatever. Don't worry. But no, it's absolutely lovely to reconnect with Turkey. Even if it is virtually. I was just saying to Aydan Hocam before we started, you know, I was planning to come back to Turkey last year for a visit around the end of March, April, but ta-da! Suddenly everything, you know, plans fell through. Funnily enough, I was in Tunisia when it broke out, doing a project with the British Council for the Ministry of Education. And then the Minister of Health in Tunisia caught COVID. So he wanted us all to leave. So we were all waiting in the airport, desperately trying to get onto our flights. So it was all very dramatic. So maybe next year we'll start getting back to normal, I don't know, or at least start traveling. But who knows? The most important thing is we're here. It's absolutely lovely to be here. My glasses will go on and off depending on what I have to read. And also to see your faces. So we're going, no. I've suddenly become susceptible to the old age eyesight problem. Can't see any things up close, but I can see kilometers away. If you want long sight, I'm your woman. All righty. Yes, we're going to do a writing activity with, suitable for kids. It's aimed at primary. And you can decide, you know, which age group, you know, according to the age group you teach, what you would adapt or what you would just remove because it's just not applicable. I'd say you could use this for ages 7 to 12, 13. But again, with the older ones, it always depends on the maturity of the class. Because as you know, if you're teaching 12, 13, 14-year-olds, sometimes they're pretty much similar to primary. And then you get some late primaries, you know, sort of fourth grade, just quite mature. So, you know, it all depends on the class. And you're the only person who can answer that question because you know your students and I don't. I know the students that I've taught. I've done it with different age groups. So let's see what you think. So with no further ado, we'll get on to sharing the screen. And Aydan also mentioned that there will be a question and answer session at the end. So if you have questions, hold on to them. By all means, you can type them in the chat box, but I probably won't answer them until the end because otherwise it's stop, start, stop, start. And then we could be here for hours. And I think you do have better things to do, okay? Even if it's returning to the sofa, which I think is an excellent thing to do. anything that keeps us away from our food is also a bad thing. Anybody enjoying their COVID kilos? I managed to acquire 5 last year. I think that my clothes were doing social distancing for a while. I've managed to remove them, but I think we've all got stories of COVID kilos. Most embarrassing. But what can we do? Some people eat when they're stressed and some people don't. Me, eating every time, especially if there's anything sweet lurking. No self-control. Some things never change. All right. So, we've got our nice Inged. I went and stole your logo from the Inged website because I'd forgotten what it looked like. I was thinking, no, there used to be something different. All right, let's see if my screen's going to do its thing. Yes. Okay. I chose this photo not because it's representative of Turkey at all, as we know, but I loved the concentration in her face. All right. And also her difficult circumstances. I mean, look at the desk, it's so primitive, and, you know, these are children who have, you know, probably limited access to school and are grateful for everything they can get. But it's nice to see children, you know, really focusing on their writing, because a lot of people think kids don't like writing, but actually that's not necessarily true. I think once you see a child with his or her pen or pencil and that lovely little tongue, I think then you know you've done a good job. So that's kind of what I'm aiming for. So that's why I chose that photo, because her little face is just adorable. She's really getting into her writing on her little bench. Okay, so here's a new word for you, and I only learned this word a couple of days ago. Right. Does anybody know? I wonder if anybody knows the meaning of this word. Feel free to shake your head. Or you can pretend you know and just, oh yeah, I knew it already, okay? Which is what we teachers like doing. Yeah, I knew that, okay? We all knew that. So, basically, a frigophilic likes cold things. So, and they like eating cold things, touching cold things. So I will let you type into the chat box briefly, because I want you to think what this session could be about, the theme, the topic. So if you like cold things, what do you think we're going to write about? So feel free to throw a few ideas in the chat box. Oh, nice. Cold inspirations. Nice. It's people who they love cold things. Back from the Greek of philophilia. Ah, nice. Yes, thank you, Mark. Yeah. Ice skating. That's the kind of thing where I'd fall over. That's far too energetic for me. That involves moving too much. Skiing. I've done that and I fell over. Oh, nice. Yes. Well, in Ankara, yes, there's lots of snow, sure. I miss snow, actually. Snow bears, how cute. Any more ideas? Feel free. I'll put my teeth back in. Count them up. Oh, cute little snowman. Thank you, Ferhat. Cold revenge. The dish best served cold. Oh, cute snow angels. Nice. I like that. Yes, snow does make people feel childish. Winter is coming. Yes. Oh, brilliant. Nice. Yes, yes. Okay, I'll give you one more clue. It's about something you eat. See if that brings a... Yes, indeed. Hang on. Absolutely right. So our subject, our topic, yes, good morning, is, wait a minute, let's see if the mouse wants to behave. Yes. Okay, so not many of us don't like ice cream, I hope. I get worried when people say they don't like ice cream, because how can you not like it? There's something worrying. I remember a very good friend of mine years ago, one of my best friends in the UK, it was when I was working in London. She started dating a man who didn't like ice cream, and her sister and I said, no, the man has no soul. You won't like him. It'll end in tears. Don't bother. And sure enough, he was an idiot. It's scientific. People don't like ice cream. Obviously, you should be very suspicious of them. Obviously, very dodgy characters. So I'd be very, very suspicious of people like this. It's up there with people who don't like sweets. But I know sweets aren't for everybody. Okay, so, all right. Now, this one, normally you would talk to each other, but actually I think we could do a quick breakout room task where you're going to talk to each other about why you enjoy eating ice cream. But it's a bit like taboo. These are the words you cannot use. Some people might find that easy. Some of you might sort of think, I'm not sure. All right, but because we're doing it as a conference, maybe you can put your ideas into the chat box. So, feel free to say why you enjoy eating ice cream, but without those words. And I've got my list here. Ah, nice. Yes, good one. I'll open my chat box. Lovely. Childhood? What do you mean? I'm still eating ice cream. I'm nearly 58. Ice cream still works. Any excuse. Oh, Doigu, no, creamy is not allowed. Did I say creamies on there? Oh, no, I think you're okay. You're safe. Oh, I like that one, Isa, Jim. Oh, that's lovely. See? It's back to, when we teach, talking about food, it's back to, it connects you with the senses, doesn't it? And this is something that isn't used commonly enough in teaching, like the sense of smell. Lovely. Nice. Oh, flavor. Well, for me, in nearly every flavor, apart from a few. That's what I tell myself. Healthy. Yes, very healthy. Well, it's got milk in it, hasn't it? Milk has got calcium, so good for you. It's like chocolate and magnesium. Healthy. Excellent. Lovely. All righty. Have we got any more? Yes. Oh, that's nice. Yes. Agree. There's a lot in there. Oh, kidoke. Oh, we've got somebody who's been to Italy. Yes. Gelato. Yes. Yes, I remember eating quite a lot of gelato when I went to Italy many, many moons ago. It's a long time ago, showing my age. Right. So if you managed to avoid any of these words, you did well. Obviously, if you're doing this in class, again with the kids, even with elementary adults learners, you could give them a sentence header. I enjoy eating ice cream because it's. All right. So it's always best to scaffold things because again, if we're asking students to do something productive, we have to give them something to produce with. Instead of falling into our trap sometimes of asking students to produce something out of nothing. You could also give them another sentence header, because it makes me feel, this all depends on the level of your students. You make it as simple or as sophisticated as you want, all right? It makes me feel, it makes me remember, because you brought out lots of different comments that we could adapt to all kinds of sentence forms. But the important thing is that we give students a little sentence header to work with. Okay. All righty. Oops. Okay. Now, some ice cream verbs. All right. So I think you know all of them. And if you feel, if you can think of any more, feel free to type them into the chat box. Lovely verbs. I think smear is the one I do. I end up smearing it all over myself. I'm not very good at eating ice cream in a tidy and ladylike manner. I always intend to, just doesn't always work out. No, the reality against the theory. Yes, there's a nice verb in there, slurp. Slurp is a very unladylike way of licking your ice cream. Okay, so we've got the usual verb to lick, like that, but slurp is like, okay. So children would like that word because it's got a nice onomatopoeic feel. And I think it's always good to bring in those words into class because because that never, you don't see it in a course book. So please bring in words like this. The children are perfectly capable of learning them because they're miming, they're easy to do. All right. Obviously melt, because that's what happens. It melts all over you. It oozes, comes out of something, like a toothpaste tube. When you squeeze it, it oozes. So again, these are very nice words to teach children. And of course, scoops, because when we buy ice cream or we have an ice cream scoop at home, it's like, how many scoops do you want? And from that, of course, you've got phrases, do you lick your ice cream? Do you slurp it? Are you a licker or a slurper? You can get very silly about it. How many scoops do you usually have? See, a bit of adverbs of frequency. I always have at least 3 because I'm greedy. So everybody's different. So if you've got any extra ones, feel free. Got some extra ones. Oh, nice. Of course, we've got room for you, Tony. A very small one indeed. There's always room for you. I hope you're very, very, very well. I do enjoy following you and Aidan on Facebook. Your funny posts. Yes, crunch. Nice one, Barfin. Yes. Because if you buy ice cream, there's often bits, aren't there? You can have things on top. I must confess, I'm a bit of a purist. I don't like people putting things on my ice cream, but that's me. I'm just old and boring. So I always annoy ice cream sellers. They're like, don't you want those, sprinkles? And I'm like, no. We didn't have those when I had ice cream, so I'm not having it now. Some change I love. Yes, biting it. Yes, I think that's when you need to use Sensodyne toothpaste. Otherwise you get that, I tend to bite it when it's melted a bit because my teeth aren't so great. So I think it's very brave. Anybody, Ushul, you sound like you're a brave woman. You can bite your ice cream. So either you have excellent dental work or you use Sensodyne. Okay, so we've got some verbs to play with. We've got words that describe ice cream. Okay, I'll just move around there. Oh, sorry. Okay. And now it's time for a little bit of drama because I want you to pull some funny faces. So if you can show us your faces, if you can do the video, that will be absolutely brilliant. I know for some people it's difficult because of the connection. All righty. So somebody else has come in, Ezra. Okay, right. So what we're going to do is think about the different ways you eat your ice cream. Okay. So if you're on a diet, how do you eat your ice cream? Show me your ice cream techniques. How do you eat it? Lovely. Yes. Little bites there, Tony. Yes. Because exactly, yes. I like yours, Aidan, the sort of guilt thing, because I'm on a diet, aren't I? So lots of furtiveness, like, no, it's all healthy. It's frozen yogurt, really. No calories. Okay. All righty. Now I want you to be a little more uncouth. I'd like you to be like a kamyonju, okay? So you're a big truck driver. So get your ice cream, be manly. Come on, get that ice cream in your hands. Exactly. Wonderful. Love it. Excellent. And now you are a Hanum offender. So lots of pursing, I think, yes. Lovely. Oh, yes. Fairhart's got his sort of roll right there, yes. Oh, lovely. Yes. A little bit of dabbing with your tissue at either side, yes. One doesn't like to be seen eating ice cream in public after all. Wonderful. All righty. Now you're a 2-year-old child. 2-year-old kids, how do they eat their ice cream? Exactly. All over. Not remotely, yes. I was going to say, 2-year-olds probably have most of it on their clothes, wouldn't they? Hence the verb to smear. Yes, it's like... Always reminds me of when I used to go shopping with my little brother as a kid. There's a 7-year age gap, so he was about like 4 and I was sort of 11. And I'd taken him to the shops, and I suddenly looked down and his face was covered in chocolate, smeared. You know how children manage to steal things without you realizing? You go, where the hell did you get it? So yeah, cover their faces in ice cream. It's the same thing. Now your last one is a burglar. You're a burglar eating your ice cream. Very nice, Tony. Yes, doing good. Excellent. Excellent, Aidan, yes. Lovely. Wonderful. All righty. So we're building it up, yes? So obviously we need absolutely right, Mark. Tony's definitely, Tony and Aidan definitely take the prize for the acting skills. Check out the drama teachers. Well, that's the thing, isn't it? We don't do enough of this in class, with writing. I mean, we do it with speaking, but why on earth aren't we doing more of this in writing? It should involve movement, activity, silly facial expressions. Years ago in the English teaching professional, must have been about 20 years ago, the title of an article about teaching writing, and there were 3 words that the students tended to, comment. These were their 3 words that they would say when they were asked about their opinions of doing writing in class, and it was difficult, lonely, and boring. Okay, so why should it be like this? I mean, yes, we know writing isn't necessarily easy, but we can certainly simplify it, and it certainly doesn't have to be lonely, and it should not be boring. So it's all very doable. Okie doke. So let's jump to, so I'm jumping around. Find my little page there that I left open. Oops, no, I don't want that. Go away, go away, go away, go away, go away, go away, go away. Yes, show all windows. Thank you very much. Don't mind if I do. Okay. Oh, what happened there? Yes, there it is. Okay. Just make sure that's showing. Excuse me, I haven't run away. I was just looking for one of my pages. There it is. Okay. So obviously, if we're going to scaffold our writing tasks, we said need the vocabulary, need to get the kids into it, and we can do this. We can start sentence building. Either do it online if you're teaching online at the moment, or good old-fashioned pen and paper. Either way, it's fine. If you're doing it in class, obviously you could have the words cut up, and the kids can move them around. All right. I'm using Jamboard because it's easy for old people like me to understand. And I use it on CELTA as well and other teacher training courses. So just to give you an example, I think you're quite good at sentence building. So I have tried to label some of them, a bit of color coding. So I tried to sort of have my subjects in the sort of yellowy color. It didn't work with all of them because I kept forgetting, I kept changing them. The verbs in sort of orange, and objects, nouns in blue. All right. Jamboard only has about 4 colors, so you're a bit limited. So you have to decide. It's basically the virtual idea of a virtual version of my old friends, my dinosaurs. I used to have some, I still have my famous friends. This is Pronounosaurus, okay? Remember Pronounosaurus? And Pronounosaurus likes words like I, you, he, she, they, and so on, okay? So they're in a little, I'll just stand up a bit. Okay. So it's a big piece of paper folded over with a pocket, and I keep the words in there. and the children can add to them. Then I have another friend called Verbosaurus. Okay, Verbosaurus likes red words, and of course they like words like go, look, like, so on. All right. Now, because this is my symbol, this is Nounosaurus. Okay, as you can see, my dinosaurs are very sophisticated. Okay, so Nounosaurus likes words like ice cream, chocolate, football, and so on. All right. So you could do it physically if you're actually teaching in a real face-to-face class these days, or you can do it using Jamboard. So here we go. Here's just an example. So there you go. I like, so I can have short sentences. Okay. I can have, there you go. Where are we? There we go. I'm missing. I need this word, don't I? Great. Okay. And deliberately, show the full stop so the kids, remember to put the full, just awareness raising, the big word and the little word, and so on. I've got other ones like I want to eat it every day. Like I've got here, it makes my tongue tingle. So depending on the level of your students, you can be as simple or as sophisticated as you want. I think probably everybody's familiar with Jamboard. If you're not, it's a piece of cake. Thank you, Tony. Remember the Pronounosaurus. I've used it lots and lots, and I still use it. Old is gold, isn't it? I have no problem with using things that I used, years and years ago. If it works, bring it on. You don't have to go back to, keep changing things all the time. For me, Jamboard was a bit of a discovery. It's like, oh, it's easy to use. So it's in Google. It's a piece of cake. You can do as many things with it as you like. Plus, you can get your students to make their own. Yes, absolutely. So Jamboard is an absolute piece of cake because it's so easy. I can use it. So that's always a sign. Okay. So back to screen. Oh, good morning. Okay. So we've done that part. Okay. So obviously in class, that would be a pair work, a group work. You can do that in the breakout rooms if you're teaching online. Okay. And you can go and have a look, or just have everybody on the screen like we had, because it's much easier to see. All right. And this also brings up other languages. I can see my Arabic studies are getting to me. Adverbs. Do you eat it slowly, messily, okay, heartily, delicately. Okay. So as much language as you can bring in and start building up, then you go from word level to sentence level to text level. All right. Writing with Children, a wonderful Oxford book, is great at that. It has lots of ideas for taking, your students from word to sentence to text. In fact, they even start with letters. They go really right from the beginning. Okie doke. So, word level. Where are we? Oh, yes. You could also make yourself an ice cream, okay, with your vocabulary word bank. All righty. So obviously this is small because online it's so difficult to show big things. But an ice cream shape. The kids can write the words, you can write the words, and then you build up your vocab bank. You could do the same with verbs, with adjectives, so on, so on, so on. Okay, doke? Yallah. All righty. So let's have. So ice cream vocabulary bank, and we've got inventing new flavors. All righty. So chat box. What are our usual flavors of ice cream? Feel free to type them in. That's my favorite flavor, Aidan. Vanilla. And so few people can do it right. It must be with real, oh yes, the very nice choice. Yes. I mean, I like pretty well all of them, but yes, bitter chocolate. Yum. Absolutely. Yeah, there has to be chocolate involved, definitely. Oh, yes, melon. Yeah, here we watermelon. Yum. Yes. Mm. Oh, I hope you've all eaten. Otherwise, there'll be some tummies rumbling at this rate. Oh, yes, Tony. Yeah. And lemon. Yum. Bubblegum. Oh, nice. Lovely. Nobody's come up with probably one of the few things I hate. Bearing in mind that I'm a great fan of Turkish desserts and Turkish food. The only thing I can't bear is the damla suckers. No, just no. Everything else, tamam. Yum. But putting damla suckers and things is just wrong. The work of the devil. In my book. I know it's a love-hate thing, and it was something I tried to love many times. Your diet's gone out of the window, Mark. Diet is a very rude word, and you should get rid of it. Somebody's just thrown up a screen of stuff. Okay, so yes, lovely. Oh yes, yes, pistachio, yummy. Yes, definitely. Hang on a minute, something's happened there. Whoops. Back to, I think somebody shared their screen, right? They threw up a load of flavors. Yeah, great combination. So now we've got our usual flavors. How about something a bit more creative? Think of some new flavors. They don't have to be real. Nice. I think that might taste quite nice, actually. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like an acı biber type thing. That'd be excellent, wouldn't it? Oh, yeah. Tiramisu, I would eat that. I would eat buckets of it. Sure. Definitely. Yes. Mocha does happen, doesn't it? You can get mocha flavor. I actually make mocha flavored ice cream myself. Yummy. Yum. All right. Oh, definitely. Baklava flavored ice cream. 100%. Yes. Cauliflower pizza. Excellent. Now that disturbs me, Tony. For it on that one. Oh yeah, hamburger flavored. Actually, maybe a nice. Oh, how about an Iskender kebab flavored? That'd be quite interesting. It's one of my favorite foods, my favorite dishes. Yeah, Iskender kebab dondurması. Yani, it's got possibilities, hasn't it? Ah, cumin, yes. Yes, very nice, Sushil, yes. I think that's got potential. Coriander or something, yeah, that'd be quite good. Definitely. Very nice indeed. Excellent. Okie doke. So we're getting very creative here. I like that. Oh, new age cutlet ice cream. nice one, Duygu. Lovely. Okay. So, getting ready for writing. You've got new flavors. Obviously, we can have things like an ice cream poem. And here's some. All right. I don't know if I hope those are visible. I took some of these from the internet.
Can I ask a question 1 second? How do you spell kale? I wanted to write kale in the chat box.
You mean like kale, the vegetable?
Yeah, I think I spelled it wrong.
It's kale.
Is it spelled K-A-L-E?
I went into Turkish head. No. It's really
correct.
It's
the spelling.
totally correct.
Oh, okay.
My brain, because I'm talking to Turkish people now, I've gone into everything sounding Turkish. And even when I'm learning Arabic, I actually translate into Turkish more often than I do to English. Because they're often the same Arabic words in Turkish. They're just pronounced differently because the Arabic in Turkish is formal Arabic, but of course I'm learning Egyptian Arabic. So, for example, bakkal, yes? This is an Arabic word apparently, and it's used in Fusha, formal Arabic, but in Egyptian Arabic it's pronounced ba'al. So then I have to write it in Turkish to myself, bakkal işte, to remember. So this is what happens. You write something up there that's English, totally correct, and I sort of go, kale. So sincere apologies. It still happens to me. I still think in Turkish, I still dream in Turkish, I still swear in Turkish when I think nobody understands me. I do have to be careful though, because a lot of Egyptians seem to be learning Turkish. And the more Egyptians I meet, many of them have Turkish heritage, like their great-grandparents. So once I was doing an impression of the Gufem used to do this really well. I'm sure she still does. And I caught it from her. The sort of traditional school teacher saying, "Susun, aptal çocuklar, adam olmayacaksın, çöpçü olacaksın." And one of the teachers said, "What does that mean, susun?" And I said, "Oh, like shut up, be quiet, silence." And she said, "God, I never understood that word. My grandmother used to say it to me all the time." I said, "Well, now you know your grandmother's secrets are out." Things you learn. So here's some ice cream poems. There are zillions. If you go out, if you go out to Google today, you'll have a nice surprise. Pinterest has got zillions. You only have to write ice cream shape poems, and the sky is your limit, or the cone is your limit. I didn't write it on mine because there were so many nice colors. I just wanted them to see. But using your ice cream shape, and you could use any ice cream shape, then you can write all around it. Okay, so as you move on to sentence level with your students, if you've built up the sentences in Jamboard or using your dinosaurs or your board, your smart board, whatever you're using, then you can go into very simple sentence level, writing your ideas around your ice cream cone. And it does help if I show it the right way around. Little scoops here. I was being, abstemious, just 3 scoops today. All right. But I noticed that many of the ideas in Google, these are kids' ideas, not necessarily the teachers. And as is always the way, children are better at it than we are because they are so much more creative. Those nice young brains. So look, I went for the traditional sort of cone shape, and they had, like little round ones, and the way they wrote their poems I thought was really nice. So shape poems, or concrete poems as they're sometimes known, aren't new, but a nice one to do. Never gets old. I think kids never tire of them. Okay, so you can also do sort of sentence building activities. So again, if you're doing adjective as, so either you can scaffold it by saying, okay, you've got the header sentence, ice cream is as, and then they continue the sentence as cold as, and they just add one adjective. Okay, so that's totally scaffolded, all right? They've only got to add one word. On the left, if your students have a better command of vocabulary, they're stronger, then they can add the adjectives themselves and make, ice cream posters, ice cream sentences. Okay, easy peasy. And I think that's the most important thing, that you don't have to spend hours creating new stuff. Okay, sorry, I'm going back one. So we've got the poem, we've got an ice cream recipe. Okay, we'll come back to that later. This is why I was trying to get some ideas for different flavors. All right, obviously an ice cream project, something on healthy and unhealthy foods. Come up with healthy recipes or healthy types of ice cream, which ice cream is the healthiest, low fat, frozen yogurt, cream, milk, because there are lots of ways to make ice cream. If you just Google different ways of doing it, I mean, the way my mum used to make ice cream was just pure cream, like crema, and it's slightly different. It has a slightly different taste from the Turkish one, but it's more like the one that you'd make, from the milk bottle. I think the kaymak one, yeah, it's a bit more like that. And then she'd just throw in fruit, sugar, and that was it. And put it in the freezer. The simple days. Nobody in my family has ever owned a churner. When people go, oh, have you got a churner? I just go, no, never had the money for one of those. And then even when I did, I was too jimmy to spend it. my akreb was in my jeb, yani. I spend my money on other things. So yes, healthy, unhealthy food posters, projects, sentences, whatever. There's a whole load of things that you can do. All right. Now, anybody that knows me, because I'm a big fan of making books. So this is my ice cream book. Okay. I'm a great fan of big books. Children like making big books, even in this techno age. Because one of our problems, I think, of sort of, using smart boards and technology and everything, it's great. We know it's great. Lots of funky effects and stuff. But, I still work with kids, and they seem just as happy, doing the old-fashioned stuff as they do with the smart boards. Because sometimes the smart boards actually are not, when they say interactive whiteboard, sometimes I beg to differ. I often call it the passive whiteboard, because a lot of the time the students are just sitting there sort of going, yeah, because it's a flat screen, isn't it? What do you do when you get home and watch your own flat screen? I can tell you what I do. Drink. And there'll be a cigarette involved as well, of course. So you're not usually sitting up straight. You're not really sort of, engaged, okay? So I think children haven't changed as much as we think they have. Okay, they might know different stuff than we did when we were kids, but they still like cutting up stuff. They still like coloring in. And they are still as creative as they ever were. Okay, yeah, you could do it digitally. Absolutely fine. Whatever, floats your boat. But so we've gone for the ice cream book. Okay, so you can make your little flat book. You can write lines inside your ice cream book. They can write their poems. They could write sentences. Okay, they could write about their favorite things, their favorite ice creams, whatever you like. Okay, yes, absolutely. Getting messy. Messy should be a major part of education, because that's how kids learn, isn't it? Playing in the mud. And the touching, because we are tactile. Humans are tactile. So, and again, it's the product thing. Children like having something to take home or and show mummy and daddy. But bunu yaptım. Bak babam, anne. Okay, so it's that thing that kids never grow out of that, never stop liking that, and it's regardless of culture and everything else. So let's not lose that. And I think there's a lot of that I done, that children do like the old stuff. I've had people say, oh no, they'd much prefer it on a PowerPoint. It's like, why? I remember years ago, a friend of mine, a very good teacher trainer, saying that she'd done the frog story. I'm sure many of you will know it, where Mummy Frog is sitting on the pond on a lily pad because it was hot. So she jumps, and of course the teacher trainer mind, hop, hop, hop onto the lily pad. So she calls Daddy Frog and says, it's hot, come and sit with me. So Daddy Frog, hop, hop, hop. Okay, and it goes on like this, big sister frog, brother frog, and little baby frog, and they all hop, hop, hop. So you'd have all your kids doing the hop, hop, hop with you, and then of course there's too many people, too many frogs on the lily, and they all fall in. All right, so you can imagine kids would love that, wouldn't they? They get to hop and be silly, and then they all fall over, going, oh, we're in the water, we're in the river. Then the head of department said, yes, this is all very interesting, but don't you think it would be better on PowerPoint? I mean, so, do you really honestly think a bunch of 6-year-olds would rather go, yeah, I'll just watch it on PowerPoint? Or would you rather be on that floor bouncing about, hopping. I mean, it's kids. So this is when I get worried sometimes with, schools. Like, oh yes, we need to use these modern things. You should be using a bit of everything. Teaching itself. People learn all around the world with nothing. And I also used to teach in a refugee camp where we taught in bamboo huts, and my bath was a river. And we had desks, but they were made of tree trunks. We had a great time. Okay, so you can teach anywhere, anyhow. Okay. What's my next thing? Run, run, run. Because I don't want people to fall asleep just yet. Oh, good morning. Yes. Okay. Yes. That one. So I'm just running through big books, and I wanted to go back. Yes. All right. The other thing I wanted to mention was, I don't know why I'm doing that. I don't unnecessarily. Now, one of the most useful things in teaching is a good old bit of washing line. Yes. So again, if your kids had made their ice cream poems, they can hang them on the line. Okay. So, of course, they would be smaller, but they could decorate their ice creams, color them in, write their poems, or just, with poems, the nice thing is that they can write words. So if they're very low level, they just write creamy, chocolatey, yummy, done. Okay. If they're more advanced, they make, I like blah, blah. It's as cold as, okay, depending on your level, or I love ice cream. I eat it all the time. I eat it in the morning. I eat it in the evening. They can go as long or as they want. So it's advanced as much as they like. So you can hang your ice creams up in the classroom. You can describe each other's ice creams and guess which one they're talking about. You can have, I forgot to write it in my slide, but I've just been thinking about it. I'd already thought about it before. The old back-to-back activity where the students sit back-to-back and they dictate their, writing first their ice cream, okay? So it's got, 3 flavors, and then they can dictate their poems to each other. They can dictate their sentences to each other and then turn around and see if they got it right or not. So again, combining the writing with the listening. Tough love, lovely. All right, I like that. If it was okay for me, it's fine for them too. Should be said with a good northern accent, shouldn't it? Like Radio 4 or something. Luxury. So absolutely. Well, yes, we'll come back to that question mark, yes, at the end, because that's an important question. Because it's how long is a piece of string? All right, so I'm just coming to the end there. I said I don't want you falling asleep just yet. Okay, if you are falling asleep, no snoring. Obviously, there are lots of things you can do. This is just a very, very small sample, right? Because I had an hour, so I didn't want to sort of, go too mad. Oh, now, was that, I'm not sure if that was my washing line falling down or my naughty cat that I'm looking after sabotages everything. So he was trying to steal my sandwich just before we start. Ah, yes, I can see him. He's looking very guilty. In fact, he's actually looking very belligerent because it's a cat. And it's like, yeah, so what? What are you going to do about it? He's a bit of a thug. He could be on one of those thug life videos, the cat going, don't mess with me. So big book we've mentioned, bit of, art and craft, making an ice cream, bit of old Play-Doh, plasticine stuff. And then they can describe it to each other. And then, again, this is your scaffolding, the colors, telling each other about their ice cream, and then they can write sentences. So, chunk, chunk, chunk. Always, with writing, it's like the speaking thing again. Give them something to work with, chunk, chunk, easy peasy, done. All right. You can have cutouts of your scoops to put on your ice cream, and then they stick them on their ice cream cone, right? And they can then write just the flavors, or as I said, they can write the words, they can write the sentences, whatever. Okay. And more importantly, make some ice cream. That's a far more interesting homework than anything else. Plus, it's a piece of cake. Kids can do it with a bit of help from mum. And I think there should be a product factor there, that they have to bring it to class the next day for teacher if they want to pass their exams. Well, that's fair. Can't see anything wrong with that. Can't imagine why you wouldn't do anything else. All right. So we've got, okay, I've got a little task for you in a moment. And what's my little task that I wanted you to do? Yes. Yes. Okay. So I want you to try to make your own ice cream song. Okay. And the melody I'm going to give you is the one you all know, you know. De faire Jacques, dormez-vous, dormez-vous, blah, 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 blah. Piece of cake, right? You only have to do the first couple of lines. You know, you don't have to go all the way to the end. So see if you can write a couple of sentences. Go like, I like ice cream. Ice cream's yummy. Ice cream's yummy in my tummy. And then you can throw those into the chat box. Keeping an eye on time. Okay. And if they're really good, you can stick your sound on. We can sing them. Haha. Make a noise. Aha. Excellent. Lovely. This is serious creativity. I love ice cream. I love ice cream. Don't you too? Yes. Ice cream yummy in my tummy. Chocolatey. I can't. I should stop smoking if I'm going to do this. I need to breathe. Chocolatey and creamy. Chocolatey and creamy. Yum, yum, yum. Nice one, Dweeby. Ah, lovely. Nice one, Badfin. Ice cream vans here, ice cream vans here. Where's my cone? Where's my cone? Who's gonna buy one for me? Who's gonna buy one for me? Lovely cone, lovely cone. I changed the word there because it was easier to put the syllables in, not because yours wasn't brilliant. Very creative stuff. Nice. Yummy, yummy. James, very tasty. Yum, yum, yum. Haha, lovely. Nice one, Mark. That reminds me of a song. Yummy, 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 good gelato in my tummy. Are we showing our age? Lovely. Excellent. Oh, wow. Nice one. Ushel, what an ice cream in my nightdress. Oh, my God. It's so hot. Oh, my goodness. Oh, yeah, lovely. Excellent. Nice. Yummy, yummy, so very tasty. I'd like some, maybe a plate of chocolate. Wafer all of that would be great fun. Hey, excellent. Wonderful, wonderful. Well, the selection is superb. Oh, nice one. Özgür's got one here. Ice cream, I'll taste you wherever you go. Yes, go, ladies and gentlemen, this is Creativity Central. I like ice cream. What about you? What about you? Brilliant. We should copyright these. Absolutely brilliant. a fantastic selection. So it's easy, isn't it? And you can build that up. That's another writing task, you know. We bang on about writing paragraphs and stuff like this. Kids would far rather write, chants and songs and stuff, and then they can perform them for each other. They can teach them. They can teach each other in the class, And you know how the young kids are like, I'm the teacher. I'm going to teach you all, They go home again, tell mommy and daddy. So nice one, Tony. Nice bit of hisses. Look, excellent. Superb. There to be stolen. I mean, shared. We'll use the word shared, of course, shared. Of course. All righty. I've got one here. Mine's not as good as yours, so I'm not really sure I should show it, but okay. I'm brave. Brave or foolish, I'm not quite sure. All right. There you go. This is mine. I love ice cream. I love ice cream. Yum, yum, yum. Yum, yum, yum. Love it in the morning. Love it in the evening. In my tum. In my tum. Greedy person. Oh, very nice, Shule. Yes. I'm hot. Want to eat something. Want to eat something. Serious inspiration going on here. Absolutely magnificent. All righty. Now, there are two more things I wanted to show you because it's the same thing, but I've made them, so I'm going to damn well share them. Right. Where was I? Yes. Yes. Other vocabulary tasks. Using the senses. Feels like, tastes like, or just taste plus adjective. Okay. So sense, verb plus adjective. Looks nice. Looks tasty. All right. Or looks like, feels like. Again, as simple or as advanced as you absolutely want it to be. All right. And this is something else I found that I quite liked. Writing your ice cream recipe. Because again, some more nice verbs, you can bring out verbs like stir, and of course the ingredients, chocolate, sugar, milk, whatever you use to make your ice cream. And again, sort of, this one's slightly guided, just giving them the basics, how to build paragraphs. So again, you can make that as short or as long as you want. And they can draw their own picture, and the kids then write their own sentences. Of course, we would have to elicit some from them in the beginning. First you do this, first add the sugar, next, blah, blah, blah. So again, as simple or as complicated as you like. And again, there are zillions of ideas on the internet showing you clever little designs. Okay. I like this one. It's using ice cream scoops to scaffold your writing. So again, you could then write sentence headers, then you add this, then you stir this, next you mix it with so-and-so, last you eat it. Okay. And there were a whole load of really nice things. And this one was, again, sort of saying how you respond. I felt happy. In my case, I saw the kilos piling up on my stomach. I wondered, how on earth can I get rid of them? And I said, damn it, all diets start tomorrow. So lots and lots of stuff working. So you could stay here all night, but people do have other things to do. Basically, when I'm doing writing, I want to see this. I want to see the little tongues out and the concentration and, the kids talking to each other, making a noise, and in between, getting that pen out and going. Because this is every kid in the world when they're engrossed in a writing task or drawing. And this means, to me, that's your feedback, that you're on the right track. Because once children are engaged in something, they're fine, Once they've had their bouncing up and down, and you've given them something that's doable, you've scaffolded, you've given them the support, you've given them some ideas, they'll start flying with their ideas, which are usually much better than ours. And and they get on with it. So just a couple of references. Okay. So that was sort of a couple of things that I used. This is one of my very old books, back to Old is Gold. It looks like this. It's out of print, but you can sometimes find it online. It was actually a book used by British and Australian primary teachers for teaching writing in mainstream schools. But I love the ideas in there. They've even got one on pirates, which I thought was excellent. Like writing a ransom note. What a brilliant way to practice the first conditional. If we've kidnapped your teacher. If you pay us with 3 bars of chocolate, we will release her. Okay? And it shows, how to make the ransom note look authentic, soaking it in tea to make it look old and stuff. So it's a very creative book. As I said, it was never designed for English teaching. It was just for normal writing classes, okay? Because usually in the UK, when we say English class, English is divided into 2 subjects, English Lit and English Language, but this means essay writing, okay? All righty. And another old friend. You see, I took these books with me from Turkey to Egypt. They were not staying... They had to come with, you can't beat a good old Oxford resource book. In fact, Oxford should give me commission. I'm still waiting. But the writing with children is absolutely brilliant. It really has lots of idiot's guide ideas. The nice thing about all Oxford resource books is that you, as I said, it takes you from letter level to sentence level to text level. But they always have a lesson plan, you see, aims, how long it takes. So it's an idiot's guide lesson plan. Sometimes they have the worksheets at the back ready for you. Okay. So there's a sort of guided writing task there. So does the scaffolding work for you? All righty. So I'm going to stop there before you fall asleep. And as we said, any questions we'll deal with now. All right. Apart from, can we go now because we've had enough?
Laura, thank you very much. I had so much fun. I just didn't know how time flew, really. I mean, I checked the clock and I said, oh my God.
The hour's gone.
Maybe just reflecting on how I feel, can we say that, yes, you talked about using fun writing activities for children, but isn't it possible to adopt these for older learners?
Yes, definitely.
Why not?
Yes,
well,
they're very, yes, totally. You could do these with 14, 15-year-olds, sure.
Tony has a question related to that.
Sorry,
Tony, would you like to unmute yourself and ask your own question?
Sure.
Yeah, if I could. I mean, the question I was thinking, I mean, these ideas, these activities are great. They really keep kids engaged and motivated. Mm-hmm. So my question is how can we take the spirit of those activities into secondary, high school, and even Hazlitt?
Yes.
Because, we've got serious motivational problems in all those 3 sectors, if you will.
Absolutely. I mean, my answer to that would be because we're all familiar with the Turkish system, aren't we? So we know that it's absolute hell for the kids, and most importantly for the teachers as well, because the teachers are forced to deal with a ridiculous curriculum, to finish a million things in 10 seconds. So my advice is and always has been, where possible, use these things where something similar comes up in your course book. So you're still following the course book, but you've just substituted it for something else. All right. So wherever possible, if you're doing as, it's in the unit, then you change the subject, do something more interesting. Ice cream was just one thing.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, but that's basically what you have to do, isn't it? Because whenever you're teaching these overloaded curricula, because that hasn't changed in Turkey, and it's all over. I mean, it's a common problem, isn't it? You've got to finish the book. You've got to prepare the kids for the exams. Parental pressure is immense, especially if it's a private school. Yani bu kadar para harcıyorum, yani niye, yani what is it? Su gibi konuşmasınlar, yani niye konuşmuyorlar? Yani this hasn't changed, has it? Why am I paying all this money? Oh, they should be speaking English like us, like the native speakers, so-called. It's like, really? I think that's the only way you can do it, is where possible. Maybe you can't do the whole thing, but slip things in, because you might not have time to do the whole activity. So sneak things in. And I think from what I've seen, your students will thank you for it. Okay?
Definitely.
Because they know.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
Because regardless of age, human beings love having fun. And please don't misunderstand the word fun. It doesn't mean funny. You don't have to laugh all the time. Fun here refers to anything that brings some light, color, challenge, some creativity to the class. So whatever Laura used here, I would definitely take it and make it more adult-like and use it in my classes.
Gosh, yes.
I think they are all adaptable. I think the problem here is our teachers just do not want to implement these materials into the textbook materials because it's time consuming, it's exhausting, it's tiring. So I'm not putting the blame on teachers. Please don't misunderstand me. But it's like they go like, but coursebook is so boring. Why can't you, for example, take a paragraph like Laura did and, just put it in pieces and ask your students to put the paragraph together? It's possible.
It's a writing class, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it's like, do you remember Teresa Dorwelly doing a brilliant one with coursebook dialogues? And you don't need to do any, I think the thing is, and Aidan, you're so right, because teachers think that, oh my God, I've got to do loads of stuff. I've got to do extra preparation. Most of these things you don't really have to. And one of the things that I've always liked that Teresa, one of the many things, of course, we loved, and I still copy it, is, those boring coursebook dialogues, hello, what's your name? How are you? You just sort of go, kill me now, but they've got to be done kind of thing. And she would play interesting music in the background, and they had to do the dialogue in accordance with the feeling generated. So you'd have some, spooky music. It's like, hello, how are you? Oh, I'm fine, thank you. And you? All right. Well, all you've got, nowadays it's even easier because you've got YouTube, you can download the clips onto your phone or even play it from your phone. So I know a lot of Turkish teachers have very fancy phones. You often have nicer phones than I have. So, even with a basic smartphone, a couple of clips, attach them to your speaker, whatever. And then you've made your dialogue far more fun, haven't you?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to, take a lot of extra time. And I think that's what we need to tell teachers, is that, okay, there are some things that will take time, all right? You can skip those if it makes, if it's too difficult. But always look at the course book and think, well, hang on a minute, I could just change that with this, with very minimal effort. Okay? So I think that, there's no reason why we can't do it. We can't do it every day, maybe. Yeah. Once a month, once a fortnight, even if you did it like once a month or every Friday, a little bit of something for 10 minutes, something different, your students would be absolutely on their knees with gratitude.
Yeah.
I think we need to add spontaneity into the lesson as well, because the teachers themselves get bored of the lesson.
Yes.
Sometimes I get bored of my own lesson when I'm, just teaching grammar over and over again with the same rules. And I can, even if the screens are off, I can tell that the students are bored somehow, like from the chat box or something.
Absolutely.
There's a sign there that shows us that, they're just not engaged. And so you have to take that as a cue to just do something different there. That exercise is just, the exercise in the textbook is just as a guide. I mean, you're supposed to be the one who's in control of the textbook here. So
there's no book better than a teacher.
Where are you teaching right now?
Yes.
At Middle East Technical University in Ankara, in Hazırlık.
Okay. So when you said grammar teaching, are you teaching grammar traditionally?
Well, I mean, we're teaching language here at the course book. I'm teaching upper intermediate level, and there's still, of course, grammar there in Hazırlık. We have, like this week, for example, today I had 3 hours, and I taught if conditional type 3 for 3 hours. So yeah, we have grammar, but it's in context. I mean, it's inside of a reading, etc. But even then, I just feel like, you know, it's very explicit teaching all the time. And
must be very boring for students.
And I see that because the cameras are off, you know, they're just, you know, writing very one word minimal things, and it just doesn't seem like learning at that point. So there I just stop and then try something else all of a sudden.
And I think actually another thing that we're not using enough of, and it's because when some of us started teaching, we had nothing. All right. Back in the 80s when course books were black and white, you know, for us more mature versions, we had the most diabolical course books. None of your color pictures and your funky flashcards and all this stuff. We had to make everything ourselves. So one of the things we often resorted to was realia, real stuff. All right. Yeah. And I think we need to be doing this more online.
Yes, I totally agree. Sometimes I bring stuff from my bookshelf, just like you did with the reading books. Stuff. I thought that was really good. Just bringing stuff from the bookshelf and showing it on the screen for a minute. Sure. I mean, and then asking them to show things on the screen and share their objects.
Go and get something. Go and bring this. Because it also gets them out of their seats. Because this is the other hell of teaching online, isn't it? You're all sat there for hours on end, you know. Like you say, the students are getting bored, the teacher's getting bored. I mean, everybody's sort of thinking, you know, I can't take this anymore. So we all need to get up and move around.
Laura, I have another question here. It goes like, some teachers believe that everything their students write has to be graded.
Oh, yes. Well.
Do you agree with that? Or how can we get rid of this grade mania? You know, what do you suggest?
Well, there's a load of things out there. I mean, yes, like many of you, I hate the this obsession with grading. Yes, it's a kill me now. You know, and you just think, oh God, and you understand why, you know, kids get so fed up. You know, not every single thing we do in class has to be graded. I mean, one of the things actually when because you know I'm a CELTA tutor, and one of the things that drives me mad is saying, how many did you get right? Yes, Sananea. It's not a test. It's a lesson. And I actually stop my CELTA teachers doing. I just say, if there's one question I do not want to hear is, how many did you get right? If you want to know, go and walk around the class and monitor. And if you're teaching online, you can get them to show you in the chat box or get them to email it to you. You know, we need to try to remove this. Okay, we can't dismantle the Turkish education system nor any other system because that's official stuff. But, you know, please tell teachers that it's, you know, did you do your best? You know, Peter Viney, the man who created Streamline, came to Boğaziçi University years ago. And, you know, we were all, especially my generation, because Streamline was like, you know, amazing at that time because everything else was awful. So he was sort of one of our great gods of the LT. But he said, you know, teachers, you know, get so worried about being perfectionist and, you know, worrying that their students don't write everything correctly. But he said, you know, teachers need to ask themselves this question more often as, is it good enough? You know, was the sentence mostly correct? You know, I mean, yes, exactly. We know that the system is totally obsessed with the, you know, as somebody's been weighing and measuring. But, you know, like Tony says, close the door. Nobody knows what you're doing unless you've got one of those horrible classrooms where the principal can look through the window, put some paper on it.
And also, I think we should like add some constructive feedback, right? Some positive things that they're doing, because it's not all bad. It's not all negative. I mean, start with something positive, maybe.
Even things like error correction, if you're doing delayed error correction after a speaking, you know, you don't always have to have the mistakes on the board. You know, have half of them correct, half of them, that need correcting. Or one day, fool them and just put everything up that's correct. And say, anything wrong with these sentences? And they're like, they can't find anything. Or they start correcting it. Actually, it was all correct because you were brilliant. There's not enough motivation going on sometimes. I think a lot of the obsession actually comes from the teachers. The teachers worry about everything being correct. So then the students start worrying. So we do need to try to remove that sort of grade obsession, well done, especially with the primary school. It's nice to see you working together well. You're sharing, you're being cooperative, stuff like this.
Okay. I think Aysel Hocam also wants to say something. She unmuted herself. Aysel Hocam, do you have a question or a comment that you would like to
I have just put it in the chat box. When we are giving feedback to writing, if we focus on every kind of error, then students get frustrated. I think we need to pick and choose.
Yes,
whatever is more salient, you can just focus on 3 things or 2 things and then give feedback to that. And so students, and give them some direction. You can just say, okay, you seem to have problems with this structure. Go to your grammar book and practice this on your own, so that it can help them learn more rather than, go ahead, Laura.
No, you just reminded me of that's what I was supposed to mention, because I used to be an exam teacher. I used to prepare students for first certificate proficiency, Cambridge Advanced, where we have to do loads of essay marking. And for years, like many teachers, I put all my correction codes and everything and underline everything. I thought, oh my God, all these years of my life have just disappeared. So like you, Aysel, I'd say, right, this week, when I mark your stuff, I'm only looking at, for example, past tenses. I will only underline mistakes with the past tenses. Next week, I'm looking at punctuation. Next week, I'm looking at if clauses. Okay, so every time you just give them one thing to focus on, because writing, I think, is the most daunting thing, and teachers do overcorrect. It's very demotivating when your piece of paper comes back, or your email, whatever, comes back with loads of underlining. And it's really unfair to expect the students to solve all their problems at once. Rome wasn't built in a day. Give them one thing to focus on. That's the same if you're teaching Hazırlık, as in school Hazırlık and university Hazırlık, where they have to do a lot of writing. Choose one thing and explain to the parents, because we know in Turkey the disease is the parents. They try to interfere so much, and it's an absolute nightmare. There are times when we need to explain to the parents in Turkish, look, this is what we're doing, this is why we're doing it. All right, so they get it into their heads. Because, the students are just becoming so demotivated. And also they get overwhelmed. They just think, I'll never be able to improve my writing. I'll never be able to improve my speaking. It's the same with speaking, just, the cameras, yes.
Laura, I have another question here.
Yes, go for it.
In Turkish national curriculum, especially for the 2nd and 3rd grade, which is like 7, 8-ish.
Yes.
It says openly, postpone writing activities, focus their attention on listening and speaking.
Yes.
What do you think about this? Is it a good idea to post? I don't think that it's a good idea, but I would like to hear what you have to say about this.
I think they can write as soon as they can hold a pen and they're ready. But, we've always had this thing in Turkey, haven't we, that they don't let the students write in English until they're like 7 or 8. I'm in Egypt, as you know, and Egyptian kids are writing at some of them in kindergarten, preschool. In government schools, they're not doing English till like 4th grade, like Turkish, devlet okulları. But if it's a private school, they're all writing in English at 5.
Okay.
So, and they've got it more difficult because they're going from Arabic, which is a completely different writing structure. I mean, Arabic, you can write a whole paragraph and put a full stop at the end, and there's no upper or lower case. But so if they can do it, and I used to teach different, kids from different countries when I was teaching in the UK, summer school. Japanese kids are doing it. They're all starting writing at 4 and 5. Koreans, Thais, there are kids all over the world. there's no reason why we can't get the children to start writing, starting obviously with the shapes, the literacy thing, learning how to hold pens and starting with, all the exercises, up, down, round, No, I think there's, and it's interesting, isn't it? Because it's the same damn alphabet. My own nieces. Many of you know that my sister's husband is Tunisian, so my nieces were educated in French and Arabic. So because they live in Tunisia. So from the age of 6, they were writing in French and Arabic from day one, because they have some subjects taught in Arabic and some subjects taught in French. They didn't have to go to English classes, obviously, but it meant that they were using 2 different scripts from the age of 6, and they're fine. Ukrainian kids, they learn, obviously, Cyrillic, their own script, the Roman alphabet. ISEL, I've told this, I know. And they learn the IPA, the International Phonetic Alphabet. At 6, they do all 3 together.
Yeah.
Okay?
It's doable. Definitely.
Yes. So if they can do it, why can't we?
Yeah.
I still don't understand the rationale in Turkey why they.
As you have mentioned in your speech, you said people keep saying kids don't like writing. It's not correct. Kids love writing. They just hate what teachers make them write. That's the issue. So if it's fun, they love writing. Okay, guys, it's almost 9:30. Is there any other one who would like to ask a question of Laura about the session? Otherwise, I'm going to finish it. By the way, Laura, I really I enjoyed the session so much. But
you're kind. Thank you.
Öğretmenim Tony sürekli bana özel mesajdan beni pick on ediyor, tease ediyor. You should do something about that.
I would be surprised if he hadn't done that. Aynen öyle.
He is the devil.
He hasn't changed.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much.
We have had fun. We learned, and we just got inspired. You have a lovely personality, so it's always a pleasure to listen to you. Hopefully, we can get together again, maybe sometime when you're less busy. Because I kept harassing you. I know. I'm so sorry.
Harass away.
Okay, I will take this. I will use this.
No,
thank you very much.
It was an honor. Thank you very, very much.
My dear colleagues, thank you very much for attending this session. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And hope to see you next week. Laura, would you like to say farewell?
Yes, I'd like to say farewell to everybody. Aydan, I'll send you the slides if anybody wants to borrow it, to keep. Okay.
We'll put it on Inged Facebook page.
Facebook.
Yes, you can download and use, but please use it ethically. Okay, guys.
Yeah.
You know the rules. Thank you very, very much. All right. Thanks for the invitation. Wonderful to see familiar faces again. Yani
it's so much. Inshallah.
Or buralarda inşallah. I have to say in Arabic now.
Okay.
Inshallah, yeah.
Yani kafam tamamen karıştı. Lovely to see you again.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Same here. The same here. Thank you.
Please stay healthy. Stay healthy.
Yes. Good. Bye-bye, everyone. Take good care of yourselves. Hope to see you next week. Bye.
Okay. Bye.